There is absolutely no denying that parent-teacher conference time is both very exciting and also very nerve-wracking. And it doesn't matter whether you're a teacher or whether you're an administrator, those feelings hold true. It's a time where you're going to meet you're going to meet the families, you're going to interact with the families, and a lot of those interactions are going to be positive, but inevitably there's always going to be a few tense conversations, a few families that you're going to have hard conversations with those families. And so, having been in the public education sphere for my entire adult life, half of that time as a teacher and half of that time as an administrator, I definitely understand that the struggle is real, and that you're both excited and you're nervous about some of the conversations that you're going to have. So over the years and over my history, I have definitely learned that there are certain ways to handle these conversations and conferences, and certain ways that you shouldn't handle. So this whole video is going to be for the 3 best tips I can give you as a teacher on what to do, and also the 3 best tips I can give you administrators on what you should be doing to make sure that your parent-teacher conference night runs smoothly. If you're excited about this topic, make sure that you follow me. Make sure you do that so that you can see any future posts that I make or any future live videos that I do. That being said, let's go ahead and let's dive right into this topic. And like any good administrator should, we're going to go with the teachers first, because inevitably the teachers are why we're here. The teachers have become our most valuable and our most precious resource. And so I'm going to start with you teachers first, and the 3 tips I can give you to make sure that your evening goes smoothly and that all goes very well. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, number 1, no siblings in those conferences. So to make sure this happens, the siblings can be very distracting. The siblings can just add a whole air of disorganization, especially when you're trying to have those tough conversations and you're having kids running around. I've had it to where I'm trying to have a tough conversation with a parent, and I've got kids pulling things off my bookshelf. I've got kids running around trying to get a hold of mom, look at this, look at that. And it can just lead to a very, very disorganized feel. The teacher can feel distracted, and you can't really get accomplished what you want to get accomplished if there's siblings there. And inevitably, it is those tough conversations that you have to have. It is those families specifically that tend to want to bring their other children to the conference. And so you really just need to set this out. Now, to make this happen, there's something very specific you need to do. And that is, when you're inviting parents to your parent-teacher conference, when you're sending out that original letter, what you're going to do is say in that letter, when you're inviting them, hey, please sign up for a time that works for you. I would really like there to not be other siblings there, so please choose a time that works when you can have your other children taken care of by another caregiver. So stating that right out front when you're signing up for times, that is the way to go about doing it so that you can make sure that they're not there. Now, inevitably, there are some parents who are going to flat out ignore your request. So they're going to sign up for a time, they're going to show up for that evening or that afternoon, whenever your conferences are, and by gosh, they're going to have their other kids there. And so you need to know this going forward, and you need to have something in mind set up, some sort of station set up outside of your classroom to take care of the issue. So my suggestion to you would be to set up a table with maybe some coloring sheets, because it's usually the younger kids that you have to worry about. It's not older siblings that you have to worry about, because they don't want to be there anyway. They just go walk around the school. So Set up a table with some chairs and some coloring station, perhaps some toys. Set that up right outside of your classroom. And then when the parents come with their children, you invite the other children to stay outside. You say, oh, well, I've got some coloring sheets out here for you. I've got these toys out here for you. And feel free to have your kids stay out here, and we'll go in and discuss little Susie. And then make sure you bring little Susie with you, because that's part of what, having her with, or her or him with you is part of what sets up for a good conference as well. So inviting the child who is in your class with you, and then inviting the other kids to stay outside. Now, sometimes you're faced with the dilemma of the children who have come with the parent are frankly too small to stay out there on their own. Perhaps they're 1 or 2 and they really can't stay out in the hall on their own. So then you need to have a secondary system set up. In your classroom, have a secondary area available. So perhaps you have a carpet, or you have a little desk in there where you have a few books, quiet things set up for the kids to play on. Maybe an iPad, something that will entertain the kid quietly while you're in there. And then when you go in, you do the same thing. You say, I'm so glad you're here, but I've got this little station set up. And you invite the little sibling to go over. You show them where it is before you start the conference. So, number 1, again, as a reminder, number 1, you're going to not have siblings at the conference. 2 is break the ice. Everybody coming in is a little bit nervous. Parents are nervous that you're going to say something bad about their child. They're nervous that you're going to say something bad about them. They're nervous. So make sure, and also you're nervous. So make sure that you're breaking the ice. Make sure that you are just having a general conversation, just a human interest sort of thing. So maybe you're just saying, how was their drive? How has their day gone so far? Telling a little cute story about their child. Just keep it general. Don't make anything specific yet. Keep it very general. Keep it open. And you're just breaking the ice. You're just helping the parent's guard to go down. Helping your guard go down as well. So you're just easing into things, helping everybody feel relaxed and comfortable. And then the third thing, the most important thing, and you'll probably hear this from any educator out there, is you need to sandwich the good and the bad. Meaning that you're going to make a sandwich. You're going to have the good, which is the bun, and the bun, so the good, and then the bad in the middle. So the good, the bad, and then the good. So sandwiching the bad things inside of the good things. And the reason for that is, if probably a lot of you are parents and you understand that you don't want to just hear bad things about your child. You want to know that somebody loves and appreciates your child as much as you do. And if they only say negative, 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 you're probably going to dismiss what they're saying as, oh, this person just hates my child. So make sure that you're sandwiching some good into some bad. So good, bad, good. Start with the good. In the middle is anything negative you have to say, or any kind of growth areas you have, and then ending with positive things. When you have really difficult children, you're going to have to really plan ahead on this one and really jot some notes down on, okay, when this parent comes, I'm going to have this as my positive. These are all the things I have to cover that we really need to work on. And then this is something I'm going to end with. This is the other positive things I'm going to end with. So making sure that you're having some positive in with the negative. And part of this is that your phrasing, or the way you phrase things, needs to be very specific. So making sure that if you have something negative to say, making sure that it is phrased as the behaviors. I don't like the behaviors versus I don't like your child. So nobody wants to hear. So making sure that you're phrasing it in such a way where the parents are clear that you like the child just fine. You love the child. You enjoy the child. but the behaviors or the work ethic or whatever it is, that's what needs to change. What are your thoughts on this? Those are the 3 things that I believe are the most important as far as parent-teacher conferences go for teachers. There's a lot of other things out there, but those are the most important things. Feel free to leave your experiences in the comments below. Feel free to leave anything that you think is more important in the comments below, and we can learn and grow from each other. Now let's move on to administrators. The administrator role is a supportive role where everything you're doing that night is to support the families. Everything you're doing that night is to support your teachers and make sure that they are having a good experience. Make sure that they are having the interactions with your parents that you want them to have, so that everybody can work together. Everybody can feel good about the evening that they've had. So starting out, administrators, the first thing I would tell you is to, prior to the conferences happening, 1 to 2 weeks out, make certain that you are verbalizing to your staff that you are available to them to ease their concerns. If you have a lot of new teachers, new to the profession, they're going to have a lot of anxiety, a surprising lot of anxiety over the fact that they're going to have to sit and have some difficult conversations with parents. Sure, you'll have your group of seasoned teachers who don't need you at all, and you'll have your newbies that just excel and they're not nervous about anything. But by and large, teachers who have only been teaching 1 to 4 years, they have a lot of anxiety over this. So make certain that you are verbalizing to them that you are there for them, you understand that they have concerns, and please come talk to you about their concerns so that you can help ease them into it. In addition to that, I want you to make sure that you verbalize to them that if they are expecting some really hard conversations with a particular set of parents, that you would like them to communicate that to you, and you would like them to invite you to their conference if they are feeling like the conference is not going to go well. So you say to them, I'm here for you. I understand that you're going to have some anxiety. I understand that you might be having a couple of really difficult conversations and maybe leading up to parent-teacher conference night, the interactions between the parents and the teacher have not been going well. And as the administrator, you're probably fully aware of who those particular parents are and what those particular issues are. So making sure that you're making yourself available verbally, and then when it comes time, physically available in their room to be with them during those conferences. Because if they're having a lot of anxiety over a particular conference, there's probably a reason why. So make sure that you offer it and then follow up with scheduling, like finding out, okay, you want me to be at Jonathan's parent-teacher conference. Send me the time and the day that that conference is scheduled for, and then put it in your calendar and make sure you are there for that teacher. That's very important. Be there for that teacher. And then number 2, on parent-teacher conference day, night, whenever you're having, I want you to be very, very visible to the families. Very, very visible and interact with them. So making sure that you're in the hallways, making sure that you're near the entrance, making sure you're wandering the halls, just making sure that you're smiling and engaging and being where the families can see you, being there. And make sure that you have a notebook handy. Make sure that you have what I like to do was just the notes on my phone. So pulling up the notes on my phone, and that way when parents would say certain things to me, I could jot it down and I wouldn't forget. Because let's be real, on a parent-teacher conference night, you're engaging with sometimes hundreds of families, hundreds of people all at one time, and you're not going to remember what one parent said to you versus the other. So to make sure that you're able to follow through with those conversations, jot down what they're saying. It doesn't have to be lengthy, just making sure that you jot down who the family is, who the student is, and what the big concern is. So interact with the families and jot down notes so that you can remind yourself what it is that you're trying to deal with the next day or whenever it is that you need to deal with that particular situation. And then number 3 is kind of related to this, is listening to the parents' concerns. As parents are coming through, as families are coming through, there's going to be a lot of just in general, hey, how are you doing? I really enjoyed seeing your students' art display, or, you're just going to have general interactions with families. But the reason you're going to stay so visible is because a lot of those families they're going to see you, and they're going to stop and interact with you, and they're going to tell you some concerns, some issues that they're having. Now, what I don't want you to do is jump right into solving those issues. What I want you to do is be visible, engage, talk, but then I want you to ask questions like, hey, have you had this conversation with the teacher yet? Have you shared your concerns with the teacher yet? So always kind of pushing it back. Teachers hate to be left out of the loop. It is very irritating to a teacher to have a principal jump right in and fix an issue that frankly probably didn't even need fixed, or perhaps the teacher already dealt with it, and the parent is, for some reason, sometimes they just talk about something that's already been solved. So making sure that you're taking whatever concerns the parents have and then kind of pushing it back towards the teacher. Have you had this discussion with your parent, with your child's teacher? And if they say, no, I haven't, then you're going to offer the next thing, which is, let's schedule a meeting. Have you scheduled a meeting? Are you meeting with that teacher this evening? And if so, please bring that up in the conversation you're having, so that you're pushing all that information back to the teacher so the teacher has a chance to deal with it. Teacher gets to have the chance to deal with this first. That's very important. Do not leave them out of the loop. They don't want left out of the loop. Of all the things I've dealt with in life, and there's been a lot, I think 9/10 of the things that parents have brought to me, the teacher was already very aware of it. And when I would talk to the teacher about it, or I would ask the parent if they had talked to the teacher about it, the answer was always, well, the parent would say, no, I haven't talked to the teacher. But then the teacher was almost always aware of it and had almost always already dealt with the situation. So do not leave the teacher out of this scenario of what you're doing. So the parents are going to share with you pain points. You're going to ask them if they have shared those pain points with the teacher. If they haven't, you're going to refer them to the teacher. And if they are not scheduled to meet with them that night, then you're going to tell them, hey, I'm going to schedule a meeting with you. We can do it by phone, and I'll make sure that the teacher is there. So you just schedule the meeting with the teacher, and then you're not done with it, because the next thing you're going to do is jot it down, like I just told you before. Jot it down and then follow up the next day or whatever. And I typically like to follow up with the teacher first and say, hey, did Susie's parents talk to you? And then they're going to, tell you yes or no. And then you're going to say, well, did they talk to you about Susie being bullied by Victoria? Let's just say that, because there's usually some sort of, parents think there's some sort of bullying going on, or something's happening that they don't think the teacher's aware of. And then the teacher's going to say, well, yes, I already dealt with, there was an issue between Victoria and Susie, and they're going to tell you that they probably already dealt with it. And then you say, well, since Susie's parents didn't get a hold of you, can you please call Susie's parents and let them know that the situation has been dealt with? So again, you're putting it back to the teacher. The teacher wants to be involved in this, and then usually 9 times out of 10 the issue gets solved. On the off chance that it hasn't been solved, or on the off chance that it doesn't relate to a teacher in particular, then take your notes and making sure that the next day that you are following up on what it is the concerns that the parent shared with you. That is the key thing here, is you're being visible, you're interacting, you're taking notes, and you're following up. So making sure that those things are done, that makes for a great parent-teacher conference night as an administrator. And that's the 3 tips. There you have it. Those are the 3 tips for the teachers and the 3 tips for the administrators.